Welcome to the Rewilding Womb, a space where birth, body wisdom, and feminine power are remembered and reclaimed. I'm Sabrina, an out-of-hospital midwife devoted to physiological birth, deep listening, and protecting the sacred threshold of pregnancy, birth, and postpartum.
And I'm Danielle, a photographer and doula, here to witness, support, and document the raw, transformative journey of being a woman. Together, we're having honest conversations about birth, postpartum, boundaries, and what it means to return to our instincts in a modern world.
This is the Rewilding Womb, where we trust birth, honor the mother, and come home to ourselves.
Welcome to the Rewilding Womb. I'm here today with Sabrina and Jess, and we're going to be talking about postpartum mental health, diving deep into, what kind of things affect our postpartum period and our well-being, and what it truly means to have a village as well. So today, Jess, we're going to discuss all of this. And so thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here and speaking about all this and sharing your story. Tell me a little thing tell me some stuff about you, like your experience, your journey, what led up to the feelings that you had after one of your children was born. Just kind of give us some details on what you were feeling in those moments and those times after birthing your baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I had two daughters very close together.
Mm-hmm.
They were 11 months apart. They're like the same age for 17 days, so they were very close together. After the second daughter,
Yeah.
I felt like I was pretty depleted. The doctors I was going to pushed for me to stop breastfeeding as they had my first daughter. They were like, oh man, it's not going well.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just go ahead and quit and it'll be fine. And I'm like, okay.
Is that because they thought that the breastfeeding was contributing to your mental health issues or something totally not related?
I think that it was like, oh, you can get more sleep this way. And,
Okay.
and you, because I wasn't sleeping very well.
Yeah.
And plus I started having issues with the first daughter too. Like I don't know. I just went, my oldest son had to be formula fed because he has a rare genetic disorder called galactosemia, and he couldn't have any milk.
Mm-hmm.
So, plus I was kind of used to formula. I had already done that. So it was like an easy thing for them to so anyway, I did. And then they pushed for that for my second daughter. And very quickly after the second daughter, I was sad.
Mm-hmm.
And I called my doctor. My husband was like, you need to call them and tell them you're feeling really sad. And so I did. And she prescribed me, I can't remember what it was, but it was like safe for breastfeeding, even though she said, maybe you better stop anyway, because you probably need some sleep. And so I was like, okay. So we put her on formula. I started taking that medicine. I can't remember what, Zoloft, something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also I started drinking.
Mm-hmm.
That did not help.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I just taken her off my breast milk. One night I got very upset and said I didn't want to be alive anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I ended up in the behavioral unit up here for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
And no one ever even suggested that might be what's going on. They knew I had 3 months. I think she was 3 months at that time. They knew I had a 3-month-old daughter at home. They just it was just like, oh, you must be really stressed. You have 2 kids under 2.
Yeah.
You just need this medicine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't remember what it was, Seroquel, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I went home. I wasn't drinking anymore, taking this Seroquel. And it just made me so hungry and tired. And I was like, ooh, I couldn't even really do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Can I slow you down and just ask another question?
Yeah.
So at this point so it sounds like your lowest point, at least up to your story you've shared so far, is at this 3-month mark.
Mm-hmm.
Had you been on some kind of medication up till that point? Or was that when the medicine was first introduced?
No, I had been for like maybe a month.
Okay.
Or maybe a month and a half.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your symptoms improved or just continued to get worse after starting the initial prescription?
Worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was worse. And I always attribute it to like, you can't drink on pills, and drinking was never good for me anyway. It was what I used to use to, cover up a scary emotion or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so after that, I was on Seroquel for like 9 months or something, long time. And I was just like a zombie, and I didn't really just like changing diapers and making bottles, That's it. And
Like no feelings.
Yeah,
It was numbing.
just hungry.
Numbing feelings.
Really hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it was horrible. I hated it. I wasn't fixing anything, and I could tell that something was still like not right. So we ended up deciding to move to Colorado. We're like, let's get out of here. I left my pills at the house when I left. Went out there, like detoxed from everything.
The pills and alcohol.
Yeah, and alcohol.
Okay.
And I was also on another thing with it, like some anti-anxiety along with the Seroquel. There was 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name, but anyway, took a while to like detox from all of that. And then we put my oldest son in public school out there. I don't even know. And we ended up turning to homeschooling very quickly. And then that sent me in a different direction. And meeting the people out there, like, it's my landlord. She was like, you can do this, you can homeschool. And then she also had 2 home births. And so that's where all that came into my head, like, but that's later. But I did start feeling better. But while I was I don't know if you guys want to have this in there, but when I was in Colorado, after I detoxed from everything else, I started using cannabis. And that helped a lot too.
Yeah,
that sent me, I started going in a healthier direction than what I'd ever done. And that was awesome. And then when Missouri became legal, then we moved back home. And yeah. So I don't know where I should stop.
No, this is totally fine. I just kind of wanted to go back a little bit. So when did you said around that 3-month mark that you started feeling that shift? And I will say, just from personal experience, when I battled postpartum depression and anxiety and rage, it hit right at that 3-month mark. And I was not on any medications, but and I exclusively breastfed my baby. But I almost felt like it was like a sense of, I was losing myself. There was a sense of like, I don't know who I am anymore. And it was this cloudiness that came over me and this doom feeling. And I will say, I was diagnosed later with it's called DMER. And so it's like a reflex that happens when you have a letdown when you're breastfeeding. And it's like the sense of doom that comes over you, like just like total, like you're dying. It feels like you're dying every single time you had a letdown. And I didn't know this until I heard it from a lactation consultant that told me about that. I'm like, why aren't we not educating our mamas on this stuff? Like, this is huge. I never did either. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, is something wrong with me? I'm trying to bond with my baby and I'm loving these moments, but every single time I have a letdown, it's like this sense of like, I'm an overwhelming feeling that I'm dying, that something is off. And so I wanted to go back to that 3-month mark. So when you said that you were feeling those sensations, or that change, that I know you were taking medication too, so it's kind of hard to say. Is it the medication that was obviously making things worse? Or did you notice anything that you were doing how was your support system at home during that time? How did you have like some close friends, or was it just you and the kiddos? Like, I want to know a little bit about that background too, to share with people.
I don't have a lot of close friends, no. And my husband really didn't know what was going on.
Right.
I'd been diagnosed with anxiety and depression since I was like 17.
Okay.
Different times in my life. I'll try these medicines.
Yeah.
So I just assumed it was just that again, and just me going down. I didn't even know, and no one, in that week, the week in the hospital at the behavioral unit, that was the same place I'd had the two daughters too. And I was like, I'd just been there 3 months earlier having a baby, and nobody even suggested that anything like that could be going on. And I don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's still, I never was diagnosed with it ever. This is just me looking back saying that's what was happening.
Right.
And
you noticed that shift. You can tell like there was something going on.
It was bad.
Yes.
But after I don't know, I guess then the medicine kind of worked. It made me not feel anything.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's what I hear from a lot of people that do take that type of medication. It's just like they lose themselves in the process and of journeying through that medication. And not a lot of people understand, like some medications work with certain people. Now they're doing all these genetic screenings and tests for like what medications work better for your body. It's just like, that's what we should have done in the first place a long time ago. And I understand genetic screenings takes time to advance and like get out there for the public, because I'm sure it was very, very expensive to get done. But like, not all medicines, not all that fits all. Like not one medicine just fits all. And that's what that mentality is with like pharmaceuticals. It's like they just give you a medication because they're like, oh, well, this helps someone else. I'm like, but will it help me? And then they don't check up on you. So that goes back to, how was your support system during that time period with your providers? It was probably non-existent.
No.
It was non-existent.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Like you went to an appointment for your postpartum.
Yeah, the six weeks or whatever. And pelvic exam, and you're good to go. Yeah. And I did have to check back after the week after the last week in the hospital. I did have to check back in with something in my town. I can't even remember what it was, but it was a therapist type situation. And then I was trying to explain what all happened to this lady, and she diagnosed me, well, you must have schizoaffective disorder. And so that's somewhere on my list of disorder, but I read all about it, learned about it, and I'm like, okay, this maybe could fit, but it didn't. I don't think that was right either.
I mean, I think this is just a little example of, what you were getting at about how the medical system doesn't really have answers for complex issues. They're just like, well, here's a pill.
Yeah, always a pill.
And if the pill doesn't work for you, they don't know what to do with you. And they don't understand that the pill is just doing one thing that is probably not the thing that particular woman needs. Yeah. And so they forget that, especially in the realm of birth and having a brand new baby, all the different aspects that are affecting that situation for that woman. Mm-hmm. And so no one's taking like the full picture or holistic approach. They're just like, well, here's a pill,
right.
Go on your merry way.
Right.
Hopefully it fixes you.
Yeah, it didn't.
And like
no feeling, no care. Which not that I needed their sympathy or anything.
Yeah,
it's just like another number. This is it.
And it makes me think of something that I probably told you, but I tell all the women when they're like, "Well, I dealt with postpartum mood disorders like with my last baby, so we'll go ahead and do the placenta pills."
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, they're a great addition to a bigger picture of support and rest and nutrition.
Yeah.
That's a huge factor. And it is interesting that yours flared after your third child that came 11 months before your second or after your second child. You know what I mean? There's definitely nutrient depletion going on in your body, right, making you have less reserves for how to handle all the stress of what your hormones are doing. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But even like placenta pills in the natural holistic world, it's like, listen, these are not going to replace a lack of sleep, a lack of proper food, a lack of support people around you, a lack of giving yourself permission to actually rest and recover.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
I know. I feel like we as women too, we try to take on all the things. Mm-hmm. It's like we're not trying to inconvenience other people. And so that,
totally.
yeah. And that was my thing too. You didn't want to ask. And that puts just more stress on us when we truly aren't meant to be alone in that postpartum period at all. Like I remember after my second was born, that support system was lacking. My husband was working long hours. I had a toddler at home. I had to get her to preschool, and she was just my excited, talkative, wanting my attention. Of course, she's a toddler. She's 3. And so, and then I had my youngest that was a Velcro baby, I call her. She just wanted to be on me at all times. And to this day, that's who she is. She wants to be by me, the quality time. But it was just, I didn't understand at that time. And so when it's you have that time period where you're trying to think, is something off with me?
Oh yeah.
It's it's my fault. I feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
I should be thankful that I have all this in front of me. I should be
healthy
blessed.
and I'm alive and healthy. My baby's alive and healthy. So what else?
What is it?
What else am I supposed it's wrong of me to think that there's anything missing.
Yes.
And that's because our society, American culture is broken.
Mm-hmm.
So broken in the way that we're not respecting and honoring pregnancy and childbirth in that postpartum period the way it should be and the way other cultures around the world do.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's definitely something that American culture has just totally done away with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I did that with my first 4,
Mm-hmm.
completely you go have a baby, you go home in 24 hours, and then you're just right back in life.
Yeah.
With all your same responsibilities, all your same because doctors and hospitals aren't saying you need to take it easy for a few days. You have a lot of hormones that are fluctuating. You need, they're not doing that. They're just oh, you're fine. Maybe don't do any heavy lifting for the next couple weeks, but don't lift anything other than your baby, they say.
Right.
And it's no, it's so much more complex than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more complex. And that's the first step, I think, where we as Americans are really setting women up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're, and our extended families are not offering that support.
Right.
And that's definitely one thing I had none. And I was my daughters are going to have this different.
Mm-hmm.
We do it differently for my daughters.
We're changing.
Yes.
And I feel like there's a big generational thing that's happening right now, because I can tell you right now, what I hear from women that, their mothers, not necessarily, but the grandmothers that have said, well, we didn't have anyone growing up. We did all the things. We went to work. We did all this. It's an entitled feeling we are super women. I think there was a shift in the generation from women being home all the time with their babies and the men working, and them having that role of they had some type of, how do I say it? This is what our life is. We should be blessed, that mentality. But they had a village too. They had other women that were home all the time during that, because they'll say, oh, we didn't have that support that you guys are wanting. I'm yes, you did. You had Mary Jane down the road that was cooking up pies or whatever and coming to your house and hanging out with you and while your kiddos played. You guys were home together, stay-at-home moms. But today, in this age, we have a lot of women working and doing things, and we don't have that type of support system that you guys did have. And even though you said you were home alone and did your thing, you had your support. You had that family.
And I just also have to say, this is a big time nutritional deficiencies. Yes. And so say 30 years ago, 50 years ago, when these older women in your family are saying, well, we had blah, blah, blah. They're not the third generation of severe malnourishment.
Right.
Listen, this is a big problem.
Right.
And so hopefully we might get to, we're going to ask you more and more about your story, but I bet you that comes into play for you too, though.
Yes. Oh, totally. I never fed myself right until recently. I was
these older women, listen, we have severe malnourishment happening because women have been given bad nutritional advice.
Right.
And so that's just
Right.
one aspect.
And I'm like,
One
I know we're
aspect.
talking about like medications and stuff right now too. Medications can cause a severe mineral and vitamin deficiency. I mean, it's there, right there. It talks about that. So that's going back to nutrition. They're throwing medications at women. And I'm like, what is it going to deplete?
So we're like-
Magnesium, zinc,
Yes.
vitamin D. I
So
mean,
we're in the third generation. The women having babies now are the third generation of severe malnourishment. So we just don't have the like reserves that are in our body to help us have more endurance towards stress.
right.
Yes.
It affects your serotonin,
Everything.
your dopamine. I mean, your cortisol levels.
Mhm.
Like vitamins and minerals are huge. And so fueling our bodies and knowing, and like I tell my clients all the time, go get a panel done, like a vitamin panel. Go get something done showing your B's, your C, your magnesium, your vitamin D levels, because that was a huge shift for me postpartum to see those levels. And they're like, how are you walking around right now? Like I was like so severely deficient in vitamin D. Like I was a seven. I mean, that's like super low, like non-existent.
Yeah.
And that was during the height of when I was having those feelings. And so that was a shift for me. So now with my moms and like my clients and women I talk to all the time, I'm like, girl, go get that blood. Go get it done. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg. You can go get it done at the health department and pay out of pocket. Get that done and see what those levels are. And let's start from there. And so like with your postpartum experience, that's what I want to tell women. Like there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, I thought it was me too. So ashamed. Thought like, can't I? Why can't I be happy? Other people in my family were saying the same thing you just said. Like, oh, you have two beautiful babies. What do you have to be sad about?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
it makes you feel worse.
Yeah,
it makes me feel worse because I shouldn't have these feelings. I shouldn't have these feelings. So you try to push them down as much as you can. And what happens when you push things down like that?
Yeah,
it makes you spiral.
Yeah.
It makes you spiral. And then you're up late at night at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you can't sleep because you're just spiraling. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? I'm afraid for the morning. I'm afraid to wake up and just have these thoughts because something's wrong with me. It is such a horrible feeling to have. And so I just feel like talking about this and allowing people to kind of chime in and say, oh gosh, I feel like that. I need to look into this. I need to, maybe it's not me. That is what I'm trying to, get out there and let people know that it isn't you.
Yeah.
It's there's so much more to just what is happening in your head, but it's your village. It's that support. It's your nutrition. It's just having someone to talk to and hold your hand or give you a hug and just rub your head. Seriously. It's just the littlest things that can help so much. And so I wanted to ask you, you were saying like your support system, because your husband, was away and things like that when working. So that's basically what it looked like when that time period as well. Like you just had little support. Your village wasn't there.
No.
Okay.
I mean, for a while, my husband worked, but then he was home.
Okay.
Then he started working from home. But like neither of us, we were just, I don't know. We just thought that this was just a part of who I was.
Okay.
I had like depressive bouts or whatever, and that's, I think we were both thinking the same thing. Like, oh, the doctors know and it's going to fix it until like it was obvious that it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then leading back to that journey and then moving away, exploring cannabis. That's a huge thing I'm actually diving into as well. There is so many good benefits to that. And I mean, I'm not an herbalist or anything like that, but I will say I've been researching a lot about it. And it's amazing what I'm reading. So just like putting that out there. Do your research. But I definitely would want to talk to you about this transition from when you were saying you were with women that were talking about home birth. And so let's kind of go on that since now we have Sabrina here. That was your midwife. So when you went and decided to look into home birth, how did that transition? How was that for you? Like exploring that option. And then how was your postpartum experience after you birthed your baby at home was compared to the one that was?
Yeah, so much better.
Yes.
It was so much better.
Yes.
And, but yes, the woman, she was my landlord, and she told me I needed to homeschool. And then she never really told me about home birth. She had 2 really good stories of her sons.
Yeah.
And so as we're moving back to Missouri, I was like, man, if I ever get pregnant again, I would probably try that. That's like ultimate mom level, is doing that at home. And we found out I was pregnant, and it was the beginning of the pandemic. And it was like, well, I don't want to go. I had already thought about, I don't want to go to a hospital because it was just such a horrible experience.
Yeah.
I felt like afterward, I didn't realize at the time, but afterwards, it's like, wow, that was not fun. It was horrible. It was like, there's comments about how close my daughters were together, and well, how are you going to stop this from getting pregnant in the future? It's like, business is yours, people.
My goodness.
Anyway,
Okay.
so the beginning of the pandemic, and I was just Googled midwives in my area, and then she was the first one with, of course, all 5-star reviews from everybody. And
I barely had any reviews way back then.
Since she came with all of her knowledge and just changed everything. It made me, there was 3 books that were the homework that you had to, you were supposed to read these 3 books. And then she recommended another book that was like, not even about birthing. It was just for me and my brain, Power of Now. And, it helped so much. And I know the placenta pills help so much too, but also just her, even just like the lactation consultant afterwards, like you being that for me, like changed everything, me being able to breastfeed and someone saying, no, you can do it and it's okay. And it's like, don't have all these worries that you're having. And,
Easier said than done, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's easy for me to say, don't worry about that, but then you have reality and you're going to worry about those things.
There's something about like your confidence and the stories you bring to the table that it's like, yeah, I can, because everyone else did. So can I. And then I did. And twice. I had 2 more home births with Sabrina. And I didn't really have the issues. I had just normal hormonal things where I could see okay, I'm feeling a little bit insane and I'm going to go sit down right now. And then I would be able to just talk myself through it after a little bit. So it was just totally different, completely different.
Do you feel like looking back after your 2 girls that were born real close, the second and third, were you just unaware of what those signs were? And then you learned some tools by the time your 4th child was born that you were able to identify, like you just said, I'm feeling a little anxious. I'm going to do something to calm myself. Is that because of tools you'd learned over the time? Or was it just I don't want to get where I ended up with the last baby?
I don't know. How. Because the bad one, the after my second daughter, I don't feel like I learned anything after that. I just was in a weird state for a long time, and then just life learning and talking. It's life skills, not just pregnancy. After pregnancy, it was you have to do these things anyway. And I don't know if that's the right answer, but
definitely after you had your 4th, you were able to recognize the feelings as they were coming up, and then you were reacting or responding to those feelings, and you feel like that helped you.
Yeah, and especially if I could be maybe this is just my hormones, then that would help me calm down. Just knowing that, as if that makes any sense. Plus, you remember that I had Pitocin drips on those first 2 in the hospital, and they say that's really bad.
There's so much research coming out about how Pitocin, when it's just being used just routinely, can just affect.
Yes.
Because it is it's a synthetic hormone.
Yes. I was reading that. And then, when it gets pushed into you, and it depends on how it's used too, how long it's used. And then that crash from it is what I'm reading. So and then you're having all the other hormones come in. So now you're breastfeeding and prolactin and your progesterone and estrogen. And then we got all this stuff trying to navigate and as you're shifting into these changes. And so I definitely feel hormonally like that. And some women are just more sensitive. We are more sensitive to our hormones, and that's who we are. We're just highly sensitive people. And so like,
that's how we make babies.
yes, yes.
I mean, we are more sensitive because our bodies need to be in order to like conceive and implant and grow and birth and nurse and nurture.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. And
that's why we're sensitive.
Exactly. And then I feel like there's just a lot out there too, like with mentally too, because we've got a lot of things that we are having to navigate as well. I have my past clients have had birth trauma, that have traumatic, like PTSD, that are from their prior births that they are having to navigate through as well. So sometimes that can kind of cause some imbalances, I feel like, within the body. Because then they're having to, their cortisol levels and everything is being like playing a role into how their pregnancy and their birth and then their postpartum period, like, or the anxiousness of like how they felt with their firstborn, if they had those depression thoughts or, well, I have it again, and the anxiety that comes from that. And so, but it's really talking and connecting with others and communicating and feeling heard and seen during these conversations and topics that really help us heal. Because if this wasn't around when I had my girls, like we didn't have, I think podcasts were just starting to come out, honestly, but we didn't talk about this. This was taboo to talk about. Again, going back to you should be blessed. You should feel blessed. We didn't want to talk negative about what we were experiencing during those first months with our baby Earthside. It was just we couldn't talk about that. That's just shameful that people would think that we are just terrible mothers.
Yeah.
That's that mindset. And so I'm breaking down these walls to show that it's nothing to do with that. It's a lot deeper. And this conversation is what's helping the world around us.
Knowing Jess and her husband, I still feel like it's been a few years since we worked together closely.
Yeah.
Because your little one's almost 3.
Yeah.
It's just a couple weeks. He'll be 3. Oh. But anyway, I don't feel like you have, I feel like your family kind of does function as an island.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And like her husband is amazing, but I don't like Jess is the type of person who's going to mom's groups and things like that. It's like her husband and their children. And as you're talking, Danielle, I'm sitting here realizing that some of my clients don't have that community, but I feel like that's why I invest so heavily into them by spending an hour every single time and getting to know their history and then trying to tailor my care to their needs, because I know that not everyone has that community, but if I can be that safe place where we can dig in and be a safe place for you to like unload and tell me how you really feel about things. I feel like that fourth pregnancy, the first one you and I worked together on, it takes a few months of the woman coming to trust me and realize I am a safe place. Yeah. And then realizing like, I'm not judging you. I want to help you have the best experience possible. So here's some tools. And so and that's why I share so many stories during my care, is because I want you to know you're not alone. Yeah. I want my clients to know, like, listen, you're not alone. It's okay, because I know not everyone has that community, and the women I work with that do have that community, I'm so excited for them. But again, this is another aspect of American culture where it's really hard to find it.
It is.
It is really hard to find it. So, yeah.
And I feel like there's a shift happening right now.
I agree.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of women talking.
I agree.
And now we're able to
the internet has helped. Yes. Podcasts have helped.
Yes.
Online groups have helped.
Yes. Absolutely.
They've also done some harm, but they can just in the fact that sometimes women are comparing themselves to others, and then because there can be that fakeness out there. But the groups in the internet do allow you to connect with people who are like-minded, and that is a very good thing. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a couple more questions I want to ask you. And so if you were to tell a mom right now out there that's going through this and battling through these thoughts, what is some advice that you would give her?
That's like in postpartum right now. Oh my gosh. She has to tell, it's like you have to talk to somebody. That's the biggest one. You got to tell. And if no one around you like understands or cares, you got to find somebody.
Yeah.
Because it's super, like keeping it all. It's the worst part. Even still, I'm like, I still battle with like, was this my fault? Like, this is just the way it was. But I don't know. You just got to talk to somebody. You got to tell anybody, like, you got to have somebody, right? Doesn't everybody have somebody to tell them? Or like you said, online groups, I guess, if they had to. Read The Power of Now, read books, read anything you can get your hands on about it, really.
Yeah.
Because that helps a lot too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
No, that's okay.
Breathe.
Breathe.
Like that's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. And if you were able to go back in time right now from what you've known and, having other babies, if you can sit beside yourself during that time, what is something you would say to yourself?
I need to eat better. Like you were talking about nutrition. That's super important. I need to just like let my husband have the baby and me go to bed.
Yeah.
I never did that. I just always I did it. It was like my job,
right?
Right.
Ask for help.
Ask for help. Yeah. But I have issues asking for help, but that's probably what I would tell myself. I guess the same thing. Yeah. Ask for help. Tell somebody.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows unless you say it.
And I think sometimes, having been married 29 years, I've learned a few things about marital relationships. And I wish I could go back. I wish I could go back to when I was having babies and just being very clear, because this is the thing. Men do not know. You're like, this is so clear to me. Like, why can't you see this? And you don't want to have to step by step tell your husband like a child, because you don't want to treat your husband like a child. And so you're just like, I can see this is such a clear thing. Like, just why aren't you doing it? And the one thing I could tell young moms is just be so clear. Honey, can you please go change the baby's diaper now? Because I just need to step away and breathe for a few minutes. Or can you please fix me a sandwich? Can you please go get me something to drink? I feel like we as women are so ingrained on having to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And then the other frustration of we just expect the husband to see the same things that we see. And they just need us to be clear. I know the struggle was I would sarcastically and with a lot of sass mumble about, and it's just no. Sabrina,
I can relate to this.
Just be clear with the man, okay? Be clear with the man and just say, can you please do blah, blah, blah. And you know what I mean? I think that's a lesson that I see a lot with the women I work with, is they just don't know how to very directly communicate with their husband, who is willing to help you out. Mm-hmm. He just is oblivious to what needs to be done. They're just oblivious to what needs to be done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just my little tidbit on just be very clear with the people around you, because they don't probably see the things that you see.
Yes, that's communication. It all roots to communication. Everything is. So I totally understand, because I'm that person. I'm like, you should see this. What's going on? Why do I have to tell you what to do? I mean, that's another chore for me to do, is to tell you what to do. So I think to myself, I'm like, So yeah, I get that completely. I'm getting better.
I just know it would have saved me so much emotional turmoil if I would have just been more clear.
Yeah.
In my postpartum periods.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and said what's on your mind and your heart
And
instead of keeping it in.
That's something I'm still working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be working on those communication things till the day we die.
Yeah. Finally, though, when I finally accepted that, I'm like, this is just something I'm going to have to do forever. And then that's when it started to get easier too, is when I was like,
Don't you think it helps too when you have someone seeing your family regularly that's directly telling your husband, you're going to have to do these things?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, she's like, you would tell him exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
I like that, Sabrina. That's a good
100%. It happens all the time. So, because I saw that that's what my husband needed, when I started having babies out of the hospital, my midwife sat him down and said, these are your jobs for the next week, and these are her jobs for the next week. And so I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I actually rested for a week, like a few days.
Yeah.
And so now I'm very direct with the husband. And I'm like, no, you know, but that's how I get that privilege when I'm building a relationship with families over the course of the pregnancy. And then the husband's like, we just have a relationship. And they're like, yeah, sure. Because they want the best for their partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They want her to have a good experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he did all the stuff you told him to. It was good. You're a really good director.
She is.
he's a pretty good fella too.
Good fella.
but that's good. That's good to hear. Anything else you want to speak about that you're on your heart that you feel like you can say to anyone out there listening?
Said all my crying stuff.
Oh,
I'm like,
well, I'm glad you were able to be here and talk with us. This has been amazing. And I really hope this touches a certain mom out there right now that is struggling and feels like she's not doing enough or something is wrong with her. And it's not. She's not. Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. So, yeah. Thank you for being here.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you so much. All right. Well,